Show me internet. I'm David Cameo, and we are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times our internet actually works. Sorry for the false start. Sorry that you have the wrong link to this premiere. I'm going to have to make so many adjustments to this, but I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for showing up. We had a false start. We're going to start over again, unfortunately, and I apologize for those of you who actually made it for the premiere at 6 p.m. Now we're here at 7 p.m. at our usual spot, too, mind you. So maybe this is all a sign. Maybe more people could join at 7 p.m. So, without further ado, please stay tuned to this episode. Feel free to tip us to upgrade our internet. Follow us at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. Oh, it's not even there. The browser object is not even there. Well, follow us at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead and just stay behind the scenes, get to know what we're doing, when we record, when the unedited episode recordings are available, which this episode was available that very Saturday last week when we recorded. So where were you? Well, you weren't following, but most of you were, so you're fine. In any case, please enjoy this episode. I don't want to delay this any further. The only thing I want to say is please subscribe to our YouTube account. It's youtube.com/squawkingdead. This is the only place we're broadcasting right now on YouTube, but you may be watching. If you like what you're watching, please subscribe. Please enable all notifications so you know when we go live. Thank you for showing up again. And without further ado, I have to fill in some details after I start the episode, so I may be unavailable in the chat for right now, but please enjoy. I'll see you in the chat in just a sec. Take care. We are Squawking Dead, a podcast pulverizing episodes of the Walking Dead universe. Sometimes we give you news, sometimes we make you laugh, but most times, we go goddamn deep. And I'm here, David Cameo, with my partner in crime, Cosmo Mom 09, Meg the Geek, and our Survivors tier member, Eliza J.
Whoop whoop.
What?
Dave and I got a secret project that we're working on.
Oh, that's a good thing to bring up. Okay.
It's not for Squawking Dead, and but it's for my channel. But it's gonna help promote Squawking Dead and a project that I'm working on in addition to my Meg the Geek persona.
Right. Right.
Sounds very exciting.
I think that's the most we can say.
I think it's a good thing to mention that a lot of it has to do with what I deal with all the time, and creators often have to deal with, when it comes to many different aspects of what we do as creators, what goes into it, as well as where it comes from, aka the mind.
Yeah.
So,
because we are one and the same.
Yeah, we're dark mirrors of dark mirror reflections of the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like yin and yang, like we're talking about in every goddamn, or I am at least, in every episode. But yeah, it's
gonna answer some questions like where I've been and what's the future gonna be. And,
yeah. While at the same time being able to touch on like certain things that creators deal with. So it's accessible, it's accessible to most people, I think, really. And it's not just limited to creators, like it's everybody.
Yeah. Anybody with a creative mindset, like at all, whether it's art, podcast, videos, writing.
We'll be hinting at that more further down the line. So it's gonna be great. Cosmo's your name. You just made some shoes for somebody.
Actually, I just did 2 pairs of shoes. These were contest winners. One was the ad contest, the Walking Dead universe ads. If you haven't seen those, actually the contest is over, so you can't see them. But we had people like Photoshop different Walking Dead characters selling products, and it was just kind of hilarious, right? So like Eliza did Alpha selling skin products. Right, because that's yeah. So they were like hilarious like that. So the winner of that contest, that person wanted a Daryl and Negan themed pair of shoes. So on the tops of the shoes, Negan is holding Lucille at Daryl, and Daryl is pointing his crossbow at Negan. And then of course there's blood spatter everywhere, because who doesn't enjoy some blood spatter?
That you made. That's what we have to make clear.
Yes, yeah, I painted I didn't make the shoes, I painted them.
You use the shoes as your
The
canvas.
Werther's ad. That's right. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you. Jasmine is helping me remember right now. So the ad that won was June and John selling Werther's.
Right.
And the winner was at golden_wolf13. So they got those shoes. And then the other one was another contest. This one was from even longer ago. But that winner wanted Al and Isabel themed shoes. And so, yeah, those turned out really super cool. So I took the image of Isabel holding the gun on Al. So that's what you see on the tops of the shoes. And then it says, Fear the Walking Dead. And there's some blood spatter there too, because, we all love blood.
They were like
More blood.
They were like silhouette art, right? Mostly.
Yes. Yeah.
To simplify, yeah, you don't want like detailed pictures of people in your shoes.
I have done some very detailed shoes as well. The silhouetted ones, in my opinion, are more for longevity. The less actual paint I put on the shoes, the more wearable they are. Like, I still protect them with like Rust-Oleum spray, outdoor, weather protectant, but they are painted sneakers, so
It'll find a way, to break down.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's cool. And so, hey, if you want to participate in any of these competitions, giveaways, etc., my advice to you would be following Cosmom09 on mostly Instagram, but also Twitter, and Blazy Gardner on Instagram and Twitter as well. And obviously, if you're not following us, you are doing something wrong. So it's at @squawking_dead on Twitter and at @squawkingdead on Instagram. One thing I have to drop before we continue is not many of you, and this is for the podcast listeners as well, but you could turn the notifications off if you like listening to us on audio. But if you can, please subscribe to us on YouTube. It's youtube.com/squawkingdead. It's odd because we have a tremendous amount of people listening on audio, which is, I'm not saying boo-doo.
That's awesome.
But it would help us if we had more followers or subscribers on YouTube. The algorithm is nicer to us. We're getting a lot more listener numbers. It's just that not all of you who listen to us on YouTube even are subscribed to us, which is a very odd phenomenon. And definitely if you are watching on Facebook or Periscope, aka Twitter, or Instagram, we will be moving away from streaming our premieres on those mediums, and we'll be pushing to have those premieres on only YouTube. So now is your chance, really. Head over to youtube.com/squawkingdead, subscribe, and enable all notifications if you can. And if you want to listen to audio, just disable the notifications even though you are subscribed to us. It's just helpful. Thank you, mostly Austria, who are going to get this because we're doing pretty well there. So Charity's not here, but she did give us her take.
Oh, side note before you play the video, Rachel, I thought of the sneakers that I want to order from you.
Ooh,
all right.
Commissions.
I'll draw it up
Awesome.
and then I'll send it.
That sounds
I
cool.
am so ready.
Okay, go ahead. Back to the regular.
Go ahead, do your silly show. do your silly podcast. I'm kidding. All right, so here we go.
I could quit.
Ooh, you're like this close. You're this close. Okay, here's Sharon.
I actually don't really have a whole lot to say about this episode. It didn't really grab me, but there were a few little things that I picked up. First of all, in the opening credits, there are Reaper victims hanging from cross beams. Went back and looked, and they added it in episode 3, but I don't remember anybody mentioning it or us talking about it, so maybe we just missed it.
Okay, so did anybody catch that in their watch?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I watched it with Sharon D, so.
Yeah, I completely missed it. The last episode.
Yeah, I totally missed it in 3, and then we noticed it in 4, and then we both went back to 3 and went, oh shit,
Okay.
How did we miss that?
I wonder why we didn't notice it the first time around.
In the first 2 episodes, it's trees that are coming in, and then in Hunted, it's the same movement, except it's the victims on the upside down
Right, yeah.
beams.
Well, same as this one, right?
But it's the same movement, yeah. And it's so fast. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I thought it was, maybe it was more pronounced this go around. I don't know.
Another thing was when Pope or whoever is doing it.
Okay, that's it. We got it out of the way. Burr.
There it is, one per
Pouring
episode.
the water, the gasoline into the cabin that Daryl and Leah are in. It reminded me of the embalming fluid going under the doors when Alicia burned the holding down. Different kind of test, I guess.
First of all, did you feel that? I didn't feel that initially, but okay, now that she's mentioning it. Okay. Cute reference.
It's kind of funny that she said that because on my time hop yesterday, it popped up some similarities I was noticing in a Fear the Walking Dead episode, comparing it to Walking Dead. And actually, you and I had a conversation about it on my Twitter. So it's funny that she just referenced.
What was the
now.
conversation about, though?
Oh God, in Fear, the rabbi.
Oh, nerd.
With his redemption arc, I felt like I remember I was comparing it. I was saying that they were taking it from Walking Dead, like recycling ideas with Father Gabriel.
I see what you're saying.
So it's funny that she said this because I didn't even think of that when I was watching it.
Oh, I did want to talk about, and I hadn't realized this until I hopped on here, and I'm like thinking about what that must mean too, because somebody was mentioning cabin. I wasn't sure if it was Sharon D or whatnot. Yeah, she literally refers to this shack that Daryl is being held in right now as a cabin, and I hadn't really thought of it that way. But the theme kind of does return, like, okay, Leah and Daryl in a different kind of cabin now, and the idea of being baptized by fire and having the okay, you want to talk about another crossover to Fear the Walking Dead? You know, John's cabin, and then having that knowing look of June looking back and knowing that she can never go back to that cabin. And now they really can't go back to that cabin because it'd be blowed away. but yeah, I mean, that feeling of like things never being the same again. But what does that mean for Leah and Daryl also?
What's done cannot be undone.
Right. You can't unring a bell, right? We've done that conversation before. Daryl coming back to Leah's cabin, Leah not being there. Daryl and Leah finally being in a cabin, baptized by fire, and coming out of it not the same. If I had to make a prediction about what happens next with Leah and Daryl, what do you think what would happen as the result of this episode? Like, do you think Leah has a change of heart? Does Leah, I mean, what do you think is going on there with both people, Daryl and Leah?
I think there are still feelings there, but I do not think she will go with Daryl or will stay with Daryl. I think she's too loyal to this family, but I don't
see. I have the.
Is it because of the
opposite.
shock value of?
You think she's going to try to go with him?
Eventually,
does,
yeah. When because we all know they're going to wind up taking down the Reapers. Every season, they always wind up taking down the big bad.
Took a while for the
like
saviors.
It did. It took a while, but it still happened. Yeah. So I feel like in the end, she is going to come over.
I think Pope is going to. He has another test for Daryl. He already alluded to that. Now, whether that involves him telling Daryl to kill Leah, or if somebody happens to find Alden and they bring Alden in and they tell him he has to kill Alden. But I think Daryl is going to have to do something. I think it's going to be kind of one of those deals where they tried to get Lydia to kill Henry when they captured Henry and brought him in. But I think it's going to be something that is going to jeopardize somebody.
I want to touch on that a little bit more because it seems like in the way that what was his guy? Bossy. In the way that he takes out Bossy, like the tests are never over. And you never know when Pope, I mean, I could be wrong, but you never know when Pope is going to go off emotionally and take it out on one of his own, which I'll get to why I feel this way. So Meg, you're coming from the place that they'll always beat the big bad no matter what. And so Leah may have a change of heart. You think Leah may join us or join Daryl at the very least?
She's either going to die or she's going to join them.
Okay, so either way, she's going to turn.
Okay, so this is our last season, so we better beat the Reapers. Otherwise, that's a pretty shitty way to end a series.
They all get bitten, including Carol.
Oh,
we're not testing levels.
I quit.
Yes.
Oh, she's playing 4D chess with you, Rach. She got you to do it. She got you to quit.
That's right. Well, if they kill Carol, I quit. I am very torn because I think about the possibilities. I think about each direction Leah could go, and I think either way is entirely possible. Maybe now that Daryl's there, she'll step back and look at Pope's methods and maybe rethink how effective they are or how morally acceptable they are, considering they're preaching the word of God here, right? They're doing this for God. Also, I could see her totally backing Pope and saying, this is how it's always been, this is our ways, and this is our family, and I totally support that. So as far as whether or not Leah's going to join us or continue to be an enemy, I have no fucking clue.
You have no
clue.
feelings or gut intuitions on that.
No idea.
Okay.
No idea. And you know what? I think that speaks a lot to Lynn Collins as an actress, because she is not giving me anything. I have no idea which way she's leaning. So bravo, Lynn Collins.
Yeah.
Way to go.
And Jasmine brings in a good point that, she left once before. So she's already seems to be kind of questioning Pope's methods when he throws the guy in the fire. So who's to say she wouldn't leave again? That was kind of Jasmine's thoughts.
Now, let me ask this. Did she leave? Do we know that she left this group, or was she simply separated from them?
That's a good conversation to start off the next segment. because this is something I actually wanted to bring up.
Well, there's a big difference whether she left or was just separated.
Yeah, here is my understanding of how this went down, because they were obviously together prior, pre-apocalypse in Afghanistan, in the Valley of the Shadow of Death, the Valley of Death in Afghanistan. Korangal Valley. Yeah, that's right. Korangal Valley.
Sorry, I didn't put the accent on it. Sorry, I'm not that
Try
fancy.
I don't know. I don't even remember how I said it. That's the thing.
I Americanized it. Korangal Valley. No.
Come on down to Korangal Valley. Nope.
That sounds
Subsidiary
like an ad
of
for Fear the Walking
Humbug's
Dead.
Gulch. Anyways. Oh, well, we're canceled now. What else is new? Okay, so, and she also says Daryl and Carol have plot armor, so Leah's, Leah's dead. Okay, I'm kidding.
Well, and there could be we could throw another iron in, because if we look forward to some of the previews, we see this knife coming through the door right at Connie. So what if they bring Connie to the Reaper camp, and now we've got Daryl, Connie, and Leah.
Oh, shit. That's, we've been so busy looking at, I don't give a shit, at Carol, Connie, and Daryl that we didn't think about Leah, Connie, and Daryl.
I think even Norman Reedus said that after this season, Daryl's going to need therapy. He's got Leah, Carol, and Connie. And there's that one scene in one of the previews that shows, this knife coming through this door, like, Jack Nicholson Shining moment, and it's right in front of Connie's face. So what if that's the Reapers, and they've captured Connie, and they bring her to the camp?
Probably just Virgil hopped up on Jimson weed.
And Jazzy mixes with Virgil.
Jasmine is saying that she believes Connie is with the CRM. Anything is possible. So is Connie with the CRM? Possibly. But we do know she's was found by Virgil. So we got to see those two together before we even think about her being with CRM.
Yeah, and I don't want to spin off too far on this point, because I kind of want to go back to Leah's backstory, etc. Korangal Valley, remember, where we were making fun of people? But I will say there is some credence to what Jasmine is saying, only because one of the things we had mentioned when we covered Denai's Exit episode, which was, I forget, who cares, 1013, it was that people came in the night and took what they wanted. There were people that came on Bloodsworth Island. I said it right. And then and took stuff from his island in the middle of the night, and basically caused the start of their collapse of their community and Virgil's loss of people and stuff like that. So there may be some tie-ins with that. And obviously the Rick's boots, so there's some even more credence to that. So it could be that CRM went after Virgil, who was with Connie, and there's a possibility. It's a possibility. And, the helicopter flying in the intro sequence is saying, you will see the CRM in this season, probably, most likely, maybe at the end. Go fuck yourself.
Do you think, did anybody get the flashback for poor Daryl of when Pope smashed that guy's face in the fire, of when Negan burnt to white?
Yes, I did get that way. I did feel that.
And I think
that savior.
Real quick, Daryl realized, I've got to be a really good liar. I'm going to have to pull my shit through this.
I think he figured that out right from the beginning.
Right.
Actually, that whole scene with Bossy reminded Sharon and I of Dr. Carson's demise.
Yeah.
When Negan shoved Dr. Carson into the fire.
Right.
Let's go to Leah. We can't get too far off track. Leah's backstory, because here's my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong, because that's how we're going to do things. My understanding is Leah was with the Special Forces. I think they're the U.S. Special Forces, only because I say this because of some of my research on Korangal Valley. Let's just say, whatever, we'll get corrected later by our commenters, that they were actually there until about 2005, the U.S. Special Forces, where the Marines took over from there, henceforth, until they finally left in 2010. Very notable. And again, this does hail back to some of the conversations we had in The Walking Dead World Beyond with Huck and her people, and when they were there. They left in 2010, and the event that they had been talking about was 2009.
They referred to it as the Devil's Pass.
Right, the Devil's Pass, the Death Valley. I think it was Death Valley. Is that what they called it?
I think those are two different places, to be honest.
No, they are.
I did look that up, and I wanted to draw a connection, but there wasn't one, so I left it out of my notes.
Hold on a second. No, it's definitely different place. I just note the years, though. I mean, obviously, the conflict occurred and when it occurred, but I remember noting the year of the moment that Huck was talking about that bad shit happened was 2009, and then the forces, when we were doing the research, the forces had left around 2010. So there's a bit of weirdness going on, because if the fall started happening from 2008, which is something that we've talked about, there's just some weird wonky stuff. But here's Negan actually illustrated that the fall took some time. It took across many, and most of the people didn't know it was happening when it was happening. It feels like as well. Like, oh, crazy people hopped up on shit just to put the burr, and like, oh god.
So March of 2020, basically.
Oh shit, bath salts.
Yeah. Oh shit. K2, right? Where you eat people's faces. So correct me if I'm wrong. It seems as though she was with these people then she was with them as mercenaries, and then at some point got separated with Matthew, as we find out. Matthew, her son, quote unquote, which is her sister's kid. Anyway, quote unquote sister. Kid,
her friend,
right? Friend, right? And then you see the cross in the back of the cabin, indicating that Matthew basically died moments later, buried in the back. So at some point, those people had family, or those people had, and so we're to believe that at some point they found her again, and she returned to the fold, right? The old family. And we've seen themes like that. I think. Where did we see this theme on the Walking Dead universe before? Oh, I'll tell you. I sincerely forgot.
Come back and leave and come back.
Well, the family that you knew pre-apocalypse comes back and is completely or somewhat different or changed.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Raise your hand. Okay, Meg.
Morales.
Good. Well, that's post-apocalypse. You know who we knew pre-apocalypse that showed her face post-apocalypse to Michonne?
Oh yeah, crazy girl.
Jocelyn. Yeah, in Scars.
Oh yeah.
Jocelyn, yes, that was it.
So it's fascinating too. And then what did Jocelyn turn out to be?
Psychotic.
Psycho bitch.
Yeah, the leader of lost children, who turned children into child soldiers. Themes.
Children of the corn.
So Willy Wonka, basically.
The Willy Wonka of darkness.
You want the golden ticket?
Willy Wonka meets Children of the Corn.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's disturbing. So there is a little bit of that flavor going on here, where it seems like a mirror darkly of like what she knew as her family, and it goes to what Daryl is. So wait, are we straight on those facts? Is that what you picked up as well? That she knew them before, she was with them for a while, even up until the point where she had Matthew. She was with her squad, quote unquote. I actually watched her verbiage when she was explaining this to Daryl, our squad, and I thought squad, let's squad goals, right? That's what I thought when I first saw that. But no, literally her squad, her military squad. Yeah. So we're on the same page, right? Is there any nuances in where I may be off at all?
I don't think so. That's the impression I got. She's been with these guys since before the apocalypse, with the exception of her time with Daryl.
And so, which goes to what Daryl was saying before. It was like, that's kind of bullshit. Because when you and I were together, what is he saying bullshit to? Daryl's saying bullshit to, like, is that Pope saying things for you, or?
Yeah, she was saying we never would have been happy. It never would have worked out between us. We never would have been happy in this kind of world. And he said, bullshit. Is that you talking or your family?
Right. What do you guys, let's talk about that just for a sec, and then we can move on to other things, because we still have Charity to finish with. Yeah. But what do you guys think about that? I want to talk about that a little bit more, because there is that concept where it's The Walking Dead makes it so you can be the self that you were meant to be, and clearly pre-apocalypse she was with the Mercs. Being away from them was now finally her chance to be a part of this new world where she could be her best self, or the self she was meant to be.
Maybe, but I don't know that it ever felt real to Leah either. I mean, everything that she's been through, everything that she's been doing, even pre-apocalypse, doesn't allow her to have a normal life. Doesn't allow her to settle down and be happy. So I think she believes what she's saying. We never would have been happy because she might not even be capable of living a domestic life.
And you're saying this mostly because she rejoined that family. So kind of like retards her growth again, that kind of thing.
Well, she
Well,
made
and
that
she-
comment, "You found me."
Mm-hmm.
She says that to Pope, "You found me, and now I'm part of the family."
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe she was with them pre-apocalypse, and then when, and not with the Reapers, so to say, but then when she left the cabin and went out on her own, they found her and, and realized, oh, she's part of our group from before. Because I don't think she was always a Reaper, but she does say to Pope, "You found me, and I chose this family."
And it's striking me more and more that what these people have become their optimal selves, or their what they were meant to become, are these phantasms. It's kind of weird, like these shadows they're expired during the fall, and then come into this world as like echoes of pre-apocalypse, of like this PTSD that's just this memory that's become a thing that wafts into the apocalypse and fucks shit up. They become the thing that of which they are associated with from here on in. Because like when you hear Pope talk about the life before, what they had to do, what they felt they had to do to kind of move on from Afghanistan, is to be, because they're like no longer normal. They were the Walking Dead before they're hipster The Walking Dead. Okay, they're hipster The Walking Dead. They were the Walking Dead before The Walking Dead was cool. Right? They were mercenaries. They decided, this is what we are now. This is what we do. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they just carried on. And there's that religious component that's been amplified, but
I don't think Leah saying that we couldn't be happy in the world that this is, I don't think that has anything to do with the Reapers or Pope. I think she's just looking at the big picture of everything dies. Everything is corrupted. Everything ends. It's either by natural, by an enemy, by a walker, but there is no times of happiness. You're always on point, you're always on guard, you're always on lookout. There's not that moments, there may be a few moments in between, but there's no longevity to a life of happiness.
who do we find say that a lot lately, or implied say that a lot in the last couple episodes of our group? Oh, okay. But I was thinking somebody else, but Jasmine says Gabriel.
Maybe just tell us, Dave.
Maggie.
Maggie. Yeah.
She's been saying, this is kind of how it is. Like with you guys, it was different, but out here, it's pretty fucked up.
Herschel gave us a little bit of that too.
Yeah,
Find what you eat.
Yeah, Herschel Jr. Yeah, that's right.
It's funny that Maggie's the one saying it, because look at when we first met Maggie. They were so secluded on their farm that even though the world was falling apart around them, they were still continuing to live life as if nothing ever happened.
Right. But maybe that's what saved them,
And
in a way.
in a way, but just think about how far she's come in those 9 years that we've known her.
And then there's the question of maybe she went a little too far. It's a
That's
fortunate
exactly
thing, fortunate.
Well, that's a big debate this entire season. It has Maggie gone too
Well,
far.
what about what Jasmine's saying with Gabriel? We find him saying this also, or find him embracing that that's how it is. This is the way the world is.
Well, I mean, is he though? I mean, he's attempting to build a life with Rosita, so he must have hope and faith somewhere that he could be happy.
Maybe this goes to what you were saying in
He
the
just
last
thinks
episode.
God's telling him everything.
Like how maybe that is one of those things that kind of makes him snack back and say, oh, that's where God is.
Maybe,
God is
yeah.
in the home, right?
Sure, yeah, could be. I like that.
Well, because I'm only using your words with what you're saying now. I like it. I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
I remember things. I'm not like all the other men.
I don't remember anything, which is why I fill my notebooks with words.
Okay, so we have a good understanding. So I kind of want to weigh in on what Leah's saying. And I feel like this group had been holding her back. Because Leah is clearly not like, it feels like, even from what little we have, that Leah is not like the others. One of these things is not like the others. So, I mean, you do see her, like, calling Carver a dumbass when it comes to, like, sure, she's the one, that's going to make you a bitch, Daryl. And, like, oh, whatever, Carver. And she's like, yeah, you know shit about shit. Which is something Daryl has said, too, right? Daryl has said, you don't know shit about shit.
It sounds like a
Darylism.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I feel like them meeting in that way at that time, Leah and Daryl in Find Me, was their moment to be... I mean, like, literally, Daryl is finally growing up in the apocalypse. So, yeah, I know that they're kind of missing each other a little bit, Leah and Daryl. But, like, Daryl is being an actual person in the apocalypse. Like, whereas before he was just, like, was it Arrested Development, and so
Yes.
maybe Daryl is acutely aware of his limitations, like, or how he's really never really experienced life and never really had sexy time, I'm assuming. And for those of you with or Beth stands, no, he did not have sex with Beth. So sorry.
Definitely not.
And okay, can we settle this? Because I'm not sure if this is going to be in the show, but did they kiss at all? I don't think so.
No.
Right?
I think she kissed him on the cheek.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. Also, it's kind of weird. She is kind of young, right?
That was
In the
always
show,
my
yeah,
beef.
she was a minor.
Yeah, right?
She was 17. She says
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I am 16 going on.
Going on 17. Oh my
Jasmine's
gosh.
saying, I feel like Leah doesn't have the religious beliefs of the group. She is perhaps with them because of the feelings of family. Also, Robert Kirkman confirmed Daryl is a virgin. Wait,
Not
what?
anymore.
Wait. When did he... Wait, after? Post?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, before. Okay.
Before,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay, so I was right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Before
Leah.
Find Me.
Yeah.
Not with
That's
the
what you mean, right?
bearskin
Okay.
rug fireplace thing.
Come hither, which is kind of a cheap move because remember when I'm going to bring this up. Remember when we were talking about sucking face in the season finale of Fear the Walking Dead? Yeah, like Morgan's sucking Grace's face and Daryl's.
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
Dwight is sucking Sherry's face, and I'm like, hey, why didn't we? Is it because of the COVID thing? It's like, at the time we didn't sure if they could suck face. Like, well, what? What is it? Why can't we get some smoochy moochies from Leah and Daryl? What? Anyway, I felt like I needed to get that out. The more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm like, I feel robbed. Daryl's first kiss scene. Now that we're seeing this more and more, I'm just wondering if you guys think that this is wrong, like that Leah is wrong, that they could have been possible, that they could have been happy.
I am so unbelievably biased on this whole thing. My opinion almost doesn't even matter.
It does matter, though. No, I mean, it's okay.
No, I think she's absolutely right. It never would have worked. They never could have been happy, so she did the right thing by leaving. There you go.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you, are you saying that as a
Yes, she is.
caroler?
Just
Yes.
flat out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. See, personally, I don't give a shit who Daryl winds up with, as long as he's happy doing whatever. So I'm just so fucking tired of Daryl and this person, Daryl and that person. Shut the fuck up.
I'd be perfectly fine seeing him be alone the rest of the series, to be honest.
Same.
He could be
same,
alone,
same.
but
At this
yeah.
rate, they should just keep him alone.
Yeah.
Because it would just fuck everybody's theories over, and I love doing that.
Until the
So,
last
yeah.
episode, and then him and Carol get together, and
They
then
get shot.
Nah.
the world
What?
is right.
No.
Oh,
I mean,
Shut up.
sorry. I'm sorry. What?
I think if they had, if Find Me had spun off into other episodes and he said, I want you to come back with me, I don't think she would have gone.
Even now.
So I just don't think it would have worked out between them because I think she wanted to stay in that cabin, in that isolation, away from everyone and everything. And I don't think she would have meshed well or wanted to even go back to Alexandria.
I completely agree
And
with you, Lisa.
romantically, I see Daryl more romantically inclined with Connie.
Now.
I mean,
Yeah. Or
and I just don't think she would have said, I'm not going. I think she just flat out would have said, because she did say, choose
She did.
me or them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. She did give him an ultimatum.
I'm touching on this now because I feel like as though, and it feels real, that I think she went back to the Reapers out of anger for Daryl's decision. Because like the moment it literally happened in moments. He leaves to go find Rick. And in that interim, however long it was, we're not really sure technically, but it feels like almost right away, he goes back and she's gone. The place looks ransacked, or maybe she was angry and took the picture of, now it's feeling like she took the picture of Matthew with her. It's like smashing the frame, taking all the shit, and, just taking it with her, and out of just like, oh, my family, fuck Daryl and his fucking face. And I bring in this up because it feels like she made that decision out of anger to go back to her family, quote unquote, when they found her again. Maybe Find Me was about them finding her rather than Daryl finding Leah, even though it says on the piece of paper, Find Me, to Leah. For Daryl is saying to Leah, find me, and here I am, blah, blah, blah. And now that she's had a taste of being with Daryl and having that memory and leaving in anger, like, how long does that feeling last, right? How long does that feeling of anger and making that decision out of anger last? Especially since you've been kind of changed now that you've been with Daryl. You have these two competing philosophies and ideas going on in Leah, which is kind of why I'm I like this character a lot. I like what could be with this character, how complex it could be. Jasmine says, I was thinking something similar. Like, I'm on it today. I was thinking something similar, but rather than being out of anger, I think it was missing having a family. Daryl was her... it's a similar thought that I had with you. Daryl was her family, and she had no one driving her back to the Reapers. Well, what is probably now the Reapers, by the way. And I think one of you said, I don't think they were called that before, but now they are.
We don't even know if they call themselves that. This is a name given to them by Maggie.
That's true. Which...
They can call themselves the Fairy Gardens or something, Fairy Godparents.
They might be the disciples,
Right, right, exactly.
Jesus?
Oh, Cole. I'm kidding. I just don't want to go there. I know. Jasmine says, also the Walker labeled Judas in the last episode. Do you think that could have been the Reaper burnt at... Yes, the Reaper burnt at the end of this episode, a.k.a. Bossy. I think that definitely was Bossy. What do you think?
Now, that thought did cross my mind, and I'm not ready to say yes or no yet because I want to write down the timelines because I think Maggie and Negan and Alden and Agatha were all together at this point, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was
the next day, though.
I think it was the next day, but Bossy doesn't die until the next evening.
No, it was later on that
would
evening.
Mean,
the same day.
Nope, it's the next day.
Do you know how I know it's the same day?
It's not the same day.
Wait, no,
I know for a fact it's not.
Wow, why? How do you know?
Because it's a new day when Daryl is rubbing the guts on him.
Right.
That's the next day.
And when he gets dragged to their facility.
And then we go into another night.
And Pope even says to Leah, we wasted a whole day chasing down this fishing expedition for your old boyfriend.
Right.
Yes.
So we know it's a whole day later.
Yes.
I want to know who's in the cell beside him. But I agree with Cosmo. I think it's somebody completely different.
Well, I'm not ready to say yes or no yet. I really want to nitpick these timelines and find out if it's possible.
Jasmine says, yeah, she's saying yeah in response to...
Yeah.
It could be,
yes.
Or maybe the name. But because he portrayed the group like Judas betraying Jesus, she means. GCSE-RS comes in handy for once. Oh, okay. GCSE is the English religious school. Religious schools, Catholic schools... are sanctioned by the government, etc. Because, king and queen, religious, blah, blah, blah. And so you can choose religious schools. And it's sanctioned, government sanctioned.
But it could be anybody because it could be either some of Pope's current Reapers or it could be whoever's with Maggie because I have a feeling that most of Maggie's group were Reapers who left and went with Maggie. So thereby they are Judases to Pope.
This is a perfect opportunity to mention Brian Castrillo again, or Brian Castrillo, however he wants to be preferred, but he's Castrillo to us. So he actually did a take on the last episode on Hunted, TWD 1103. So he thinks that it's Elijah. Now, one thing we don't see much of in this episode is Elijah.
Yeah. Oh, that hurt my stomach.
That hurt me too.
Oh.
I mean,
Brian
Brian can be right. Like, it's like a broken clock is right twice a day. I'm kidding, Brian. I'm kidding. Ooh. No, but he's keen, and on this one, I don't want to believe that it is him, but I'm feeling that, and if it's true that it's not the next day, or I don't know what's going on, I have no timelines, even in 2 days, I don't know what's going on. We don't see much of him.
Right.
So I am a little worried, and I wonder if they're not going to be definitive about who that is,
unless we just don't see Elijah again, and then we
know. Yeah, and that burnt walker might be absolutely nobody we know, and just a sign of what the Reapers are capable of. Look at what they do to their own people, guys.
No. So thank God you said that, because one of the things that I wanted to bring up was what Angela Kang says about the matter. And that is, up until now, Pope has not killed any of his own. And so that's one of the things that I wanted to make clear about this being kind of a turning point. First of all, Pope putting Leah in danger, first of all, is a surprise to Leah, even though she straightens her back and still sides with, because family, right? Pope being the Latin word for father, papas in Greek. This is the father figure. This is, you don't betray your family, your father, your brothers in arms. You don't leave them.
Well, if that's true, then Angela Kang just confirmed that walker is in fact Bossy, right? I mean,
well, that's what I'm wondering.
If that's the first person that Pope has killed in his group, anyway.
Well, I mean, but Elijah isn't. Elijah may have confirmed the fact that Elijah was once of the Reapers, but as well. So there's two things that could be true. You know, a lot that he was definitely one of the Reapers. I mean, the fact that Carver is even using, I think it's Carver, I can't remember which one, that is using that sickle against Maggie in the mall, I think it was. No, it was Bossy or, right? What, at what point there was one of Elijah's sickles was used against Maggie, and I can't remember if it was in the woods or in the mall. I think it was in the woods. Yes.
And that was it actually Elijah's
It
sickle,
looked-
though?
it looked
did
a
he
lot
throw
like
it.
it.
And it's like stuck in a tree or something? Is
Well,
that
he
what
had
you're
two of them,
picturing?
so I mean, you could take your pick,
Right.
right?
Right. Oh, I'm just wondering if it actually was Elijah.
But Elijah did not.
Oh,
Did he go with them when they left Alexandria?
yeah.
He did.
Yeah, he was there. Oh, he was taken away, if you remember, when Maggie was
roped.
whipped, and then he was taking the whip or rope
Okay.
off of Maggie, and then he
That's
was
right, that's
he was
right.
pulled away, which Rachel had said was Frost
Who's on the other end of
of
that?
Elijah
rope.
being pulled or whatever, or the under the rope, right? I thought it would have been Frost pulling Elijah away, and like by the way, I'm here's what gives me more credence. Before we go into the Frost thing, Jasmine asks, do you think all Pope's people served together or have they joined since the fall? No, they would definitely pre-fall and post-fall. All those people.
Yeah, a combination of both, I think.
Yeah, same people. But I'm noticing a pattern, and this lends credence to the fact that Elijah was definitely part of the Reapers. Okay, when we talk about the Reapers and we find out the names, aside from Leah, well, even Leah is in the Bible, but whatever. You got Matthew, the child that Leah cared for. You've got Michael, the archangel. You've got Carver and Reaper Turner. I mean, Michael Turner, whatever. Michael Turner is a comics artist. I think it was a comics illustrator, which I think they like to put in every now and again. Elijah is also Elijah the prophet. Very big in Judaism.
Of Jacob.
Yeah, that's right. Leah of, well, not necessarily unloved, but yeah. But definitely not chosen. Your chosen family. Leah and Rachel, actually. Rachel. Rachel.
Right.
Rachel and Leah. That's
Joseph's Rachel was Joseph's mother.
That's right.
So I was named after Jesus' grandmother.
Oh, okay. There you go.
But Leah couldn't bear children, I think. And
Oh, no,
that's
she
why
definitely had
Rachel ended
children.
up-
But what was I? Oh, Elijah. Yeah, Elijah having that name, being a part of the Reapers, looking like a Reaper, etc., etc. Why it makes a lot more sense that it could be him that was birthed to death. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I hope they give us an answer, but I'm almost like hoping they don't,
will.
because then they can slide that heartbreak until like later on, and we can like, it was him, and that's why we're not seeing him again. Oh, so sad. And then we don't really get to experience the sadness. What do you think about Frost, Rachel? Now that you've had a chance to see him,
My opinion has not changed. I still think Frost is the Judas.
what didn't you just say that that's wrong because of the timelines?
I don't mean the actual. I mean he literally is a Judas to our group, to Maggie's group. I think Frost is a double agent.
Okay.
I don't think we can trust him.
Interesting. And then maybe that he was the cause for all these communities to fall or whatever.
Well, when I saw the Judas walker, I didn't think that physical walker was anyone that we knew. I saw it as a symbol to someone in our group is a Judas, and who is it? And my theory was Frost.
That makes a lot more sense of what I was thinking, because we've seen each and every single person of Maggie's fighters die, one getting taken. The only one that we didn't see was Frost, and so it could be them smoke screening a body that Maggie would have taken to be Frost.
Yeah.
Or Elijah. Ugh, heart hurt.
Well, and Jasmine says, but if Frost is a spy, he knows
Daryl's
Daryl
lying.
is lying. Does he, though? I think there's a lot more that Daryl knows that Frost doesn't know. Okay, as far as the extra 36 people that basically Negan and Gabriel said they were going to meet, that's the lie. And does Frost know he's lying? Frost knows about as much about these communities anymore than Maggie does. She's been gone for 6 years. She doesn't even really know everything, does she?
I'm inclined to say no. There's like a knowing look that Daryl tosses his way, and Frost kind of gets the message, and then
And then they come and take Frost out of the room immediately after they realize Daryl's not going to give him anything.
yeah.
When Daryl's speaking and talking, he keeps looking. When he's talking to Frost, he keeps looking, cutting his eyes forward like they're watching. So it's like he's like, "Get this, dude! I'm saying all this to protect us." You know.
And Maggie primarily.
I love his
Frost
description
is trying to get
of
him to open
Negan,
up.
Yeah.
the tall, skinny one that never shuts up.
Yeah, I think, which we find out later on. It is possible that Frost and Pope are playing the long game here. I want to say it's highly unlikely, because if
Hey, I was wrong about Riley too. I wanted Riley to be a good guy. So
Like the long game. I'm torn because if that's the case, and Pope is making an awful show of Daryl being part of the group. Now, I had written this in my notes, and I said it could be that Pope is so smart. I'm not ready to say that yet, for many emotional reasons that Pope displays, that it doesn't matter whether or not I say Daryl is part of the group, baptized by fire, blah, 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 just like us, etc., etc. It doesn't matter because as long as I keep Leah around, he'll be devoted to her. I think that makes sense. And so it might fit nicely saying that and feeling more comfortable with that, with what you're saying, that Frost is still part of the game, he's still part of the Reapers, and that he's feeding intel directly to Pope.
just more fuel from my fire anyway. Frost could have easily told the Reapers where they were on the road. I mean, I don't know how he's communicating, but they attacked them right on the road as they were on their way to Georgie's secret drop spot. Somebody had to have told them where they were and where they were going for them to intercept.
And if you think about it, anytime cops or anybody do undercover, the undercover officer typically gets the shit beat out of him too. And so
They
who's
gotta
to
go
say
through it
they're
all.
not saying they're taking him out. They're like, okay, we're going to have to whip your ass to make a good show of this. If he is part of them and he is the covert spy trying to relay my information, they've got to make it look legit. They've got to beat him up. They've got to, do everything else to him.
More convincing for Daryl.
Well, and then this is all to say, if that in fact is true, Pope knows that Daryl is 100% lying. Period. End of story.
Well, lying about what though?
Everything.
Lying about what?
Everything.
He's not.
Not
Though. Maggie
being-
is leading.
True.
That's not a lie.
But like his relationship to these people is
Yes,
complete
he's lying about
fabrication.
his relationship, but not about who they are.
Which
And I think that's where the
Right.
test they're going to bring somebody into the fold that he is going to have to show his allegiance to them by killing.
I mean, regardless of that fact, that's going to have to happen. Or, I mean, it doesn't have to happen. We're assuming a lot of things. But if in fact it does happen, it doesn't matter either way. He's still going to be tested for his faith. And as we've seen even with Bossy, like everything is a goddamn test to Bossy. And not a test of loyalty. This is the key defining thing. It's not about loyalty at all. Loyalty is implied, but are you divine? That is the test. We know this because of what Pope does to Bossy. The test isn't whether you are loyal and dragged your dead brother 10 miles. That's not the test. The test is whether you are part of the chosen people. I want to drop this one Hebrew fact for a second because a lot of fire, altar, ritual sacrifice. There's a concept called purity or being tahor or tameh, meaning a lot of people boil it down to purity, but it means basically whether you're spiritually pure or spiritually not pure. And the only way to cleanse that is with the sacrifice of the sacred red cow. Like, a lot of people hear about the sacred cow. That comes from a red cow that has no blemishes. A cow with red fur that has no spots, no speckles, all pure red, no black or gray hairs or white hairs on it, nothing. It has to be a perfect red cow, which is completely rare and impossible to find. But there have been a few in existence, and you have to sacrifice it to God, obviously, like we did in the old days. You sprinkle the ashes into water, and then you purify somebody. And this is really more for high priests who do the services on high holidays. But I bring this up only to mention that that's what Pope is looking for. He's making sure that all of his people are of the chosen people. They're the people that can walk through the fire and go into the fire. We do not. This is the thing that I was terrified in the last episode about. Remember what I was saying? The thing that terrifies me the most is people who can walk into anything and believe they can get out of it alive. They just go in, they know they're not going to fail, and they will move as though they will not fail. And that's the placebo effect. It's real. It makes it so that you can go through anything.
He wants them to be the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego of the apocalypse. They were the 3 Hebrew boys that were put into the furnace.
Oh, God. We're talking about Carson again.
He threw them into the furnace because they wouldn't proclaim their loyalty to him.
Right, to him, to God.
And they said, our loyalty is to God. And he put them into a fiery furnace. And they looked in, and they said, didn't we put 3 in? And there was actually 4.
Oh, wow. Who actually did that?
Part of me wants to say Nebuchadnezzar, but I know that's not it.
Oh, so that's actually the second temple. Okay, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar, which is who was post. I think it was post the destruction of the first temple, which is second temple.
The whole season full season. We're only in 4 episodes. It feels like this parallel between Dante's Inferno, the 7 rings of hell. So if we're going towards hell and we've got Acheron, and then we also have to have that parallel of heaven into salvation. There's got to be that foil. And here we are finding salvation and strength, or strength and salvation.
Well, the yin and yang, really. I mean, we're going back to that again. Of the same thing, but going a different direction.
It's literally what they say in this episode, too. The strength of salvation.
I kind of wonder, was Leah a character that was planned before COVID? Then they decided to write like a backstory with her and Daryl for the 10C episodes, or did they write that episode and then decide to bring her into season 11? I just was kind of curious about that, on what your thoughts are.
Didn't Angela Kang talk about that?
Sharondy's referring specifically to whether Find Me was an afterthought, having that 10C episode.
It's like once they decided they were going to give us these 6 extra episodes, they went, ding, let's put a little backstory in here since we have the opportunity to do
right,
so.
because
it would create more tension going forward.
I can easily see them sneaking in Leah without giving us the backstory, or them trying to do it in season 11, because I actually literally saw a Facebook memory of the exact moment where we knew that we weren't going to get like another season after 11. But before that, there were discussions about doing a season 11, season 12, and I think 10C made it so they didn't have to do a season 12, because it makes sense that they would give us some sort of backstory to Leah, I think, in season 11, in order to introduce her properly, maybe later on, after we find out who she is. Because I can easily see Daryl seeing Leah for the first time and going, I know you. You know, like the audience goes, and the audience won't know who this person is. And then we find out later on, we get that little bit of backstory. Maybe implied or deliberately, but now they don't have to do that because of those bonus episodes of season 10, which I'm not sure what would have been better. Like us being like, how does Daryl know this person? Or having the backstory ahead of that. Yeah, what do you guys think about that? Like, right? There's a little bit of like, oh, there's something I don't know as a viewer.
I think they would have figured out a way to have woven in flashbacks.
Sexy time flashbacks.
Yeah.
With actual sexy time.
You know,
Oh.
or I guess actually it goes, those flashbacks would have to go back even further, because that episode of Find Me, even though it was in 10, actually took place right after Rick went missing.
Which is to say, do you think they thought that far ahead? No.
I don't know, but we know that he talked about Leah because, Carol made the remark of
her dog.
You kept her dog.
Yeah, I still think Elise is onto something though, because only, like you said, kind of the opposite. Like, the Reaper storyline was always going to happen. So instead, they gave us this Find Me episode to increase the tension.
Going to Sharondy's question, was Find Me an afterthought? You're saying yes.
I think it was an opportunity to give us more of this backstory.
Because it is a bonus episode.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, defining the idea of having it be a bonus, rather than being implied, or because I don't think we were going to get flashbacks. I almost thought that until COVID happened, I'm fairly certain that after seeing this episode and after looking back at what Find Me became, we almost were probably not going to get that episode or that visual flashback of this digitally filmed episode for the first time, or whatever it is, of Daryl and Leah knocking boots. First of all, because of the fandom, but second of all, because they don't want to see that, right? You didn't want to see that, Rachel, right? You didn't see sexy time between Daryl and Leah. And lots of kissing scenes and caressing of naked skin. Does it make you happy?
No. I didn't like it at all.
You're not quitting, right, Meg? Right? You like it when I talk.
I'm quitting. I quit.
Well, all right, so I do have thoughts.
So we should title this episode the episode where Rachel quits.
And not Meg.
Right.
I feel like if they had done not 10 seed and went 11 and 12, that Find Me and Hunted probably would have just been a 2-parter where they would have extended Hunted into 2 long episodes with the scenes of Find Me being woven in flashbacks.
I almost feel like as though we wouldn't have gotten it though, period. 'Cause the way The Walking Dead works is usually they don't like doing flashbacks unless it really, really, really is important.
Daryl knocking boots, I think that's pretty important.
I think they want to avoid it as much
exactly
as possible though, if you think about, because of the fandom.
Oh, like they care about pissing us off. Please.
Well,
love to
I mean,
rile us
They
up.
love pissing us
after
off.
Negan and the dumpster and all that, and shedding all that fandom, like losing your Carol Darylers, come on, it's not gonna happen. I don't know. Oh, Jasmine said the thing, which we all believe. I mean, technically, really, Carol and Daryl are platonic soulmates. IMO. Yeah, I mean,
I'm in that boat too.
I
If it gets romantic, I'm here for that as well, but
Right. We're a strata on Squawking Dead. We're like we generally agree on things, but we have wildly different takes sometimes. Let's move on to the rest of sharing these things. That was a good, fruitful conversation, I think, with trying to figure out whether Find Me was really meant to happen. Mm-hmm. The Reaper, Leah and the Reapers definitely was meant to happen, just whether or not we were going to get that backstory.
Also, an interesting juxtaposition with Father Gabriel, where he, in the last episode, said, God isn't here anymore. And in this episode, Pope says, God is here and he is angry. I think you kind of touched on that a little bit.
What do you think about that? And again, yin yang. We come from the same place. Let's be literal here. Pope, father, not the father. I just wanted to sneak that in. Like they're both father, not the father, really. But, I mean, it's kind of cool that they're both considered to be fathers of some variety. You know, in almost like a figurative father to Leah, Pope. And yet, like, Gabriel's a literal father to, not figurative, to Coco. I don't know. There's a lot going on here.
He's not a literal father to Coco.
But
His father, not the
and,
father.
like, Rick is not a literal father to
Exactly.
Judith? Because
Exactly.
Oh, come on. He is, though. Like, found family. I mean, come on.
Well,
Adopted.
yeah,
Adopted.
but literal, but the word literal means
I'm. Well, I guess. All right, but I don't know. Father, technically, Pope isn't that far in age from Leah, right? I mean, and yet he's the commanding officer, and yet he has this father figure. Like, I don't think he could adopt her, and that's why I say that. Like, I don't think he could adopt her if it was the real world, because it's kind of weird.
Oh.
Right? That's all I mean.
oh,
I think there's
don't
two
know.
variations of God that we're dealing with. When I think about Father Gabriel, I think about New Testament God, where there's love, forgiveness, there's compassion. And when I think about Pope, I think about the Old Testament God, where there's hell and damnation and bringing down fire on the people.
Wrath.
You know, I mean, it was Elijah who called down the fire. And so I think we're seeing a divergence of
And he was almost
God.
punished for that. He was
Yeah.
punished for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and not only that, but there is
Elijah, the prophet.
Elijah, but there's also this feeling of cult of personality with Pope. He's like the Jim Jones, David Koresh. I think he's talking about he's God and he's angry.
Well, and to the point where he may not even know it himself. And odd that he says that, because he's saying, when Daryl says, I rely on myself, or I believe in myself, he's like, you're not him, I am. Like,
Right.
followed by, not really saying it, but like, now that you're saying it, like he believes he's God or whatever. I don't know. Let me go further with this, because the problem with the Old Testament, when it's not really the Old Testament, that's the problem. Like, okay, New Testament obviously evolved into, looking back and seeing the compassion and retelling the tales in order to suit a certain narrative. But a narrative that of compassion and love thy brother, etc., the distilling down the teachings of Jesus, right? Old Testament, if you read it literally, was all about hell, damnation, all that stuff, right? But it's not. The way I get my hints about what this group is modeling their Christianity after, because it's Pentecostal. I know this because of the speaking in tongues, which is called technically glossolalia, right? Pentecostals believe in a literal translation of the Bible, and that's the problem. Now, when I grew up learning in Jewish yeshivas, right? Like the day schools, like, right? So part of what we learned, this was hammered into us from a long time ago, is that you cannot read the Bible literally. It's not a book of stories. It's not meant to be read that way. Embedded in the stories is law, technically. They're trying to tell you a story and then embed and weave into it rules of how to live your life and that sort of thing. Now, you're not going to get everything perfect, obviously, and I'm not really a religious person, but I do know about religion. I do know the mechanics and all that stuff. However, going back to these guys, they must be believing in a Pentecostal form of this literal translation of the Bible, and it comes with exactly what you're saying, Elisa, which is like the fire and brimstone. Fire is not only with which we get baptized, but is what is God's wrath and all that stuff. And who gets to decide what that is? But Pope, aka, I'm not God, but I'm really God. Okay, I believe in myself, but it's really me. Can you hear me, God? Yes, it's me, Pope. Okay, me. I mean God. Right, that whole thing. Oh, another thing that I learned about Pentecostals is that they were one of the first to introduce women in leadership roles.
Well, I was raised in the Assembly of God, so
Was that I'm a Jew. I don't know these things.
Corey Ten Boom was one of the first female preachers to be kind of indoctrinated.
Right, and that's what I like about this part. And it goes to maybe also Leah. First of all, indicating Leah's involvement, her high figurehead status. Apparently, the Pope says, "I like your ass the most." So okay. The daughter I have that is most favored to me.
The Mary
You
Magdalene.
actually were able to understand what he was
Subtitles.
saying.
Yeah, my subtitles said speaking in tongues. It didn't give
Oh
me
no,
words.
speaking in tongues. There's
Like-
no because I was trying to. Who are you referring to? Pope or?
The priest that was praying over
I'm just
Turner.
kidding. I was making a joke.
He was speaking in tongues, and my captions literally said
Speaking in tongues. Yeah. I know. There's
Yeah.
no words. But you were.
There is no language. It's the language of God.
Yeah, it's like your attempt at bringing
Right.
the presence of God closer to you is
Yeah.
by speaking
I
in tongues.
spent
yeah.
about 20 minutes trying every different Google Translate language just to get
Oh
something
no, you
even
did
close
not.
to...
Oh no.
I did.
There-
I did. I just
yeah,
wanted to
there-
be absolutely sure.
Oh my goodness.
Can somebody give Rachel those
Oh
20
my
minutes
god, I wish I
back?
could give you that back. Oh, it's really nothing. But Meg, you were referring to what Pope was saying, right? About
So in the beginning when Pope was talking to, I think it was the scene with Leah when he was saying like something, I'm angry.
oh yeah, yeah.
The only words I understood him saying in that scene were "I'm angry," and then outside in the end, I understood most of what he said. I'm blaming it on that fucking Tom Selleck mustache. I am having so much trouble understanding him because he's a Tom Selleck, Wilford Bromley wannabe.
It does like take up half of his face.
It's a crossover. Tom Selleck.
Let me tell you something about
Tom
diabetes.
Brimley.
Like I'm bringing in Blue now.
I'm calling him Tom Brindley.
Blue,
Not
yeah,
Pope,
Mr.
not Tom
Blue.
Selleck, not Wilford Brindley, Tom Wimbley.
Tom Brimley, right.
That's his new name.
Bill.
Yeah, that mustache made it so I couldn't even recognize Mr. Blue.
So good. And now that I'm like,
But the voice, I'm like,
And you're
I'm like,
welcome
this
for the
voice.
teaser clip for the next episode of Instagram.
but yeah, I'm like going deeper into the Richie Coster dive. It's like he every one of his characters is like different from the other too, sounding different, looking different. I mean,
He's a chameleon.
it is so amazing, kind of, and his performances are so like, look up any supercut with Richie Coster in it. He's really so amazing. He really gets into his
love his
characters to a
voice.
point where I want to know, like, I kind of want to know how he is in real life, but I'm also afraid of finding out that his personality is just horrible. Like,
He's probably like a
scary,
teddy bear.
right?
Oh, I would hope so. I could just listen to Mr. Blue read the dictionary. I love it. I love his voice so much.
Right? It's so
Yeah.
unique. We're talking about, by the way,
Yeah.
for those who aren't following, Mr. Blue Scaramucci from Happy! Exclamation point.
Yes.
This was on Sci-Fi, which is now on Netflix, by the way.
I think it's on Netflix
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
It is, yeah.
I have to hesitate a little bit because you have to warn the audience that it can be
Yeah,
very
yes.
offensive. So I hesitate saying it's great. Like, some people will be like, this is horrible. Why did you tell me to watch this? So
It's great in its horribleness.
yeah,
Means weary
Leah
one,
means weary one.
and Shaw means one who lives by a copse or a thicket.
Okay, so did you hear all that?
That's it.
Leah
Thicket.
means weary one.
I heard thicket.
The etymology of and then Shaw, which is Leah's last name, which we learned. It's not easy or apparent even if you have the subtitles on, but like, yes, they refer to her as Shaw rather than Leah, and etc. Okay, but a Shaw means like kind of like a clearing in a wood, or like where the trees thin out a little bit, so there's a bit of a which is a thicket,
So thicket actually means a thinner.
a thinner,
thicket.
weird, yeah, exactly, a thicket. It's not
Thicket
as
is a
thick.
thinner area. Okay. I mean, it's cool knowing what her name means, but what does that mean in terms of her character or her story or relation to
Like,
the
how does it
show?
relate
or
to
how does
Oh,
it
I mean,
relate to,
it's kind of on the nose. I mean, weary woman in the middle of the woods. Find me, cabin. Like, she was in the clearing in the woods, and yeah.
Okay, all right. So literally just surface
On
meaning.
those.
Nothing deeper. Okay, all right. Well, we like to go deep here, so I was trying to go deeper.
I mean,
but we don't need
That's
to.
what she
We
said.
don't
It's
need
about as
to.
deep as it gets. I mean, it's
That is
right there.
what
look,
she
it's about as
said.
deep as a
Or,
5-foot
I mean,
pool. It's deep, but it's not that deep. I can see above. I mean, I
If you
could
take
see
her
like
last-
this, and then in Meg's toast. Meg's
over my
drowned.
head.
It's done.
I'm
She
If
can't
you
go
take her
too. She can't go
last
deep.
name- If you take her last name, the meaning Shaw, as a thicket, which is a thinner aspect of the forest.
Right.
That maybe she is
Not as extreme.
not as extreme as the rest of the group. She's that kind of in-between spot.
There we go.
And maybe because
That's
of her
the deeper
weirdness.
point I wanted. Thank you,
wait,
Elisa.
we can go even further. You want to know? Shaw is Gaelic for wolf, and we all know Carol is
she
the
hungry
lone
like a-
wolf.
The wolf.
right?
Right.
Stop connecting these two.
Is she hungry like a wolf?
For Daryl's pee-pee.
Well, they
Anyways.
did ask Daryl if he was hungry.
Sorry, Rachel.
Rachel, now you quit.
And
I quit. I need to make it. Now I need to make it fine.
But I think maybe that's the allegory of it, is that she is the thinner veil between Daryl's world and the Reaper's world.
That's the thing that bugs me. Like the lone wolf in the thicket. The weary woman, lone wolf. It's good to draw these allegories, right? Good. I don't know. Rachel doesn't feel so, but yeah, maybe.
Hey, I gave it to Rachel.
Okay.
No, Rachel's mad because you're kind of shipping Leah and Daryl
Honestly,
right
though,
now.
this is the hard part because we did talk about Connie, love triangle, love square. So like Leah, Connie, Daryl.
The love pentagon.
Yeah,
of the
and
series.
right.
I mean, Carol's not really in the equation in my book. I mean, in terms of romantic entanglement, but like, you know, having these different corners of Daryl and Leah, and I don't know how to feel. Because I mean, you said it best, I think, Meg, was that Connie was the one for right now. Like, this is where he's at after all this time away from Leah, that he thought maybe he could reinvent himself or reinvent who he is post Leah, post everything. You sort of mentioned like that he had this thing going on with Connie. Or maybe it was Lisa. Yeah.
Yeah, Daryl is good about saving people. So I think, if anything,
Yeah.
he may try to save Leah. But at what cost? Is it
Oh, he
going to
will.
cost him having to sacrifice someone he already knows to save Leah?
Right. Oh, God. Well, who did we say that about? We said that in Fear the Walking Dead when it came to Morgan, the possibility of having to save Grace over the people he knows. I remember that little parallel?
Would he put Grace ahead of
Yeah,
the group?
yeah.
Can somebody just put the group ahead of Morgan?
Well, that's the thing, you know?
That'd be cool.
I thought that was an interesting thing. It seems cruel, and Grace would lose, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not, though. I mean, a chance for Morgan to fix not like a previous mistake, or I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter to me.
Like coming to Fear the Walking Dead? I mean, what?
But I could see Daryl trying to do that because he couldn't save Rick. So maybe he will do whatever he can to try to save.
Leah?
He couldn't save Rick, and in his mind, he couldn't save Connie.
And he didn't come
He still
back in
thinks
time for
Connie's
Leah.
dead. So he may try to do whatever he can to save Leah.
Or Connie, even. Like, if you want to go by that
But he doesn't
logic.
know she's alive yet.
Oh, yeah. Good
Trying
point.
to get that win.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming in the scenario that you're talking about, he sees the present danger of Connie, putting that against Leah and all that stuff. Yeah, tough call. So basically what we proposed for Fear the Walking Dead, but with Daryl in The Walking Dead. It goes to your point, like, because when he sees Leah, he still doesn't put the knife away. He's decided to himself that if
Yes.
she's...
Oh, thank you for bringing that up. I forgot to write that down, but I noted that. Even when he finds out it's Leah, he is still holding on to that knife. He does not put
And
it
she
away.
still has
He's
that dumb
not feel
shotgun.
safe. Yeah.
Apparently.
Even before she raises it, he's still holding the knife.
No. She's clearly with these people. Shit happens. We know
His
the people...
guard is still up. He doesn't know if he can trust her.
And Daryl was there with Jocelyn. He was there at Scars.
Yeah.
He knows what can happen to people that you know before and how they could change from now. Again, it's good to know that we brought that up because that is a clear moment for Daryl that he's getting the Scars moment as well with someone that let's say what we're going to say. Did Daryl and Leah love each other?
I know what Rachel's gonna say.
Well, I mean, no, did they though?
I bet you don't.
Because in the episode in question, Leah says to Pope, I didn't say I loved him.
I didn't say he loved me.
Oh, was that what it... Okay. Which
I think
could go
Daryl
to what we
did.
were saying before about her leaving in anger with the Reapers, let's say.
I think Daryl did, but I think it was more along the lines of how you love your first love. I think it was his first intimate relationship. There were definitely emotions and feelings that he had for her because it was the first real woman to have shown him those intimate moments and that intimate feeling.
Well, when people marry their first loves.
Right, and I think he
stay
did love
forever.
her, and I think she did love him because we really don't know what they were together. What, 6 months is what it said, or something like that. His love for Carol is on a completely different plane.
Which tracks, I think, with most people, and most people who
than
love
what
each other.
most people would have. But
Yeah.
I think, I think he did love her, and I think she did love him.
I think there are different levels to love. Like, I love you guys, and I love my husband, but I love my husband
Differently.
different than I love you
Right.
guys. Yeah. So
I sure hope so.
yeah, exactly. It's all love, I care about you guys, and then there's the love that I have for my husband. Do I think that Daryl and Leah were in love? No. I don't think they were together long enough to fall in love. I do think they loved each other in the sense that they cared about one another.
I have to say something before we continue, but even you've said that in the apocalypse things are accelerated, relationships.
Absolutely.
I was just gonna say
okay.
that.
High five, Meg.
Love works. Love works. Look at Maggie and Glenn.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Perfect
Very good
example. Love is different in the apocalypse because it's not like you can go on your typical date nights, meet the parents, meet the friends, do the whole
The stupid
things
shit.
that you're supposed to do. The stupid shit that you're supposed to do.
Kids grow up fast.
Could be your last. Kids grow up fast, but every day could be your last. So you got to live.
Oh,
in the
I remember
moment.
specifically what we were talking about was when we put Negan in jail. Being there for 6 years is kind of like a life sentence, in a weird way.
Daryl may have loved Leah more than she loved him.
That could be
That's
too.
could be something.
I also kind of look at what Leah and Daryl experienced, although it was a much shorter time, as sort of the same kind of fantasy that Carol was living with Ezekiel. We're playing house, telling ourselves we can do this and we're happy, but is this real life? Is this sustainable?
Which is what Leah says in this episode, which is interesting.
Which is what Carol ultimately tells Ezekiel too.
Yeah.
This couldn't have lasted. I'm done with the fantasy now.
Is now a bad time to say I sometimes forget that Carol and Ezekiel were
No, we bring that up every once in a while because of the time skip. And they've been together for a long time.
Long time.
And it happened with season 7 when the show was kind of taking its big dip. So
That was a long courtship if you really think about it.
How do you forget Ezekiel's dude bro moment with Daryl?
Or his proposal to Carol. I mean,
but yeah,
put that away.
Yeah, I like the dude
put
bro.
it away.
I like the dude bro moment better.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm trying to build something here, and I need you out of the
Yeah,
picture.
come on, dude. I'm trying to rebuild the ashes of my relationship. Oh God.
Yeah.
My son just died. Can't you get your nose ahead of my business? You know what? The show does this thing sometimes, just like we're talking about when to leave somebody behind and when to go fight for somebody to live and to bring somebody home again. Sometimes you're never going to get an answer. Is love possible in the apocalypse? If you look at Maggie and Glenn, is it? If you look at Daryl and Carol, it never was. And if you look at...
So far.
If you look at Daryl and Leah, that's still up in the air, and it's one of those philosopher asshole moments where it's okay, sometimes the answer is in the question, sometimes it's about figuring that out for yourself, and when.
I want to be a philosopher asshole.
No, you don't. The waters are more deep than 5 feet. It's you're not.
I can swim. I'm short, but I can swim.
Yeah, but how long?
Bitch.
I mean, that's the question, right? How long until your arms give out, right? Your little bitty arms. I have little bitty arms, so this is not saying much.
Let's go to the pool then.
All
Come
right.
on over.
See who drowns first. The philosopher
My
assholes
tiny
laughing
little
at us
legs
all
would be the
along the way.
problem.
Let's talk about my tiny little... My wife's... This is running gag with my wife. Honey, I can't catch up to you with my tiny little... She's only three inches taller than me. But honey, your gait is too long. Me and my tiny little Scooby-Doo legs. Right? I'm just doing this thing.
Hey, if that's 3 inches of all leg, that is a wider
I
step.
know.
Yeah.
No, I have for some of my friends, their 1 step is my 5 steps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have.
Yeah, and you're
tiny
scurrying
legs.
after them too, right?
Yeah, and I'm can you slow down?
Yeah.
What Jasmine's saying is she's saying you should have buoyancy aids, aka water wings, and then you beat
yes.
the philosopher asshole at his game. High five! Fuck that guy. That guy is me.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
But I don't think relationships don't last in an apocalypse.
Yep. See there's a take. That's a
And I
take.
think,
Yeah.
especially if you're with a group, you then become too worried and too focused on the person that you're with. It kind of goes to what Michonne says. Was it fear makes you stupid, stupid gets you killed? Love makes you stupid, stupid gets you killed.
Or anger makes you stupid.
Their anger,
I was thinking of that too.
I mean, any
No, do you wanna
any
know
of those
why?
emotions could go in there. I think what has kept Carol and Daryl as this item, and I wouldn't say a romantic item, but this item is that their love for one another transcends that
Typical romantic.
romantic label.
Yes.
And so they're able to get pissed off at each other. They're able to tell each other off. They're able to try to do what's in the best interest. But there's not been any relationship that has survived that has been a romantic relationship.
No, do you want to know why relationships don't work in the apocalypse? Because one of the people in the relationship always either die or go missing.
There you go.
Or didn't put the Bengay on all their special parts. Remember that whole thing from the holiday special?
Oh my god.
It's so great. And you were there for that. You smelly asshole. Well, you didn't put any Bengay in that smelly asshole. Come on. Oh. Jasmine's saying people keep dying. Yeah, I mean, and it's not limited to just, romantic relationships, but it doesn't help. How are you going to meet people if that soulmate that you want to be with dies before you get to meet them? No, I don't have an answer to this either. But I will say it's a show of my personality, and it's an unfortunate show to say, oh, I do believe that you can do it. And like Rachel said, even between different relationships, your love is going to be different with... Okay, let's just put Daryl in this scenario. Daryl's love for Leah is going to be different than Daryl's love for Connie. I'm talking strictly romantic here, so that's why I didn't put Carol in there. But yeah, the way you love this person is going to be different than the way you love that person. I mean, Connie's not going to come hither. She's going to write something down, and she's going to say...
That's why Carol
come
and
hither.
Daryl will always
she
be.
does do sign language, so she can.
Yeah, but it's a different sign. So, what were you saying, Eliza?
Can we go into the sign? Can we dovetail into that off of that?
Sure.
And what was that?
What was that? Did you find out?
Well, I have a theory.
Oh, go for it.
Was it Morse code, or was it something for dog, or...
Sa-ta.
No, don't say that, because that goes into what I'm saying.
Wait, what? Satanama?
Sa-ta-na-ma. It's a meditation technique.
Well, who taught him that?
Sa-ta-na-ma. I don't know. That's why it's a theory.
Wait,
but that's what it looked like to me.
Well, the first one he did was okay. I'm showing you, but I'm not saying.
It's like he was tapping on his hand. He wasn't.
So there was 2 taps on the index finger and
this.
2 taps on the middle finger at first. So it was just, and then afterwards it was just the 3. I think it was. I rewound like 3 times. The second time he did it, it was just 1, 2, 3. It was index, middle, and ring finger. And I think it was him counting the people, and it comes back later on when he tells Leah, you only have 15 people.
That's how I took it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I've got. But I love what you said, Rachel. It's killing me. And he learned that from Lynn Collins.
It reminds me.
Okay. Wait, is that what you were saying?
Actually, of course, no, of course I was going to bring Ryan Hurst into it because he's a yogi.
Okay. Meg, is that what you're going to say, though?
I was thinking it was something Connie had taught. I was thinking it was like a sign language towards dog that maybe Connie had taught. Some kind of a sign language.
I know that for gorillas, but I don't know about that for dogs. Like dogs...
Well,
dogs
Connie,
respond to hand signals.
Yeah, Connie and Dog were together a lot, and he responded to hand signals. So I don't know if that was some kind of a code or something. I mean, that's a Talking Dead Angela Kang question.
Man,
I'd be interested in seeing if that bore fruit.
Because he knew sign language. Dog obviously knew hand signs.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, Connie taught him hand signals.
Oh, okay. Do you know?
Well, we see Dog responding to Connie's hand signals at some point.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever see in those movies and TV when somebody's gets a bag thrown over their head and thrown into a van? Every time they make a turn, they say right or left, and then they start counting how many seconds. That's what I took it as.
The paces.
But as kind of going back to what you said, Dave, about that's how many people you have. So it's kind of similar to that.
Right. But in your scenario, it's like, okay, if I've gone this far, there's this turn, and whatever.
Yeah. So in case he needs in case when he gets out and he gets his people, he needs to go back and maybe either save Leah or burn the whole place down.
Carol style.
Carol style.
That's right.
Are they sick?
Oh boy. Yeah. Well, I'd be supportive of that one. Fuck these guys.
Well, they're definitely worse than saviors.
Pope kind of helped out with that by starting to burn the place
his
down,
people.
So, I mean,
yeah. If you just leave Pope to his own devices, he'll just kill all of his own people, right? There go the Reapers. See, this is why I hesitated before about thinking about Pope and if he really is incredibly intelligent or not, or I can't make that out yet. I know he's incredibly motivated in terms of his beliefs and what he feels he can tell his people to do. Like you said, David Koresh and all these influential mass murderers, they have the charisma enough to be able to motivate their people to do incredible things. I mean, he's less charismatic than Teddy. Let's just be honest. But more fearsome. Don't cross me. And now he's going into territory where he's actually killing his own people, or to make a point. Again, Angela Kang, not me. But this is the first time he's doing this. Can we move on to just one thing though about Angela Kang? I feel like she's taking she's like taking us out of a job. watching AMC Plus, and I'm literally watching these specials on AMC Plus, and she's going, well, actually, that's what this means, and this what this means. And I'm like, can't talk about that, can't talk about that, can't talk about that.
Well, you can talk about it, but just dive deeper into it.
What's the fucking point? Half the fun is just figuring it out.
You know what, David?
Why, though? Why?
I quit.
What are you?
Because I'm trying
Angela
to help
Kang?
you. Yeah.
What?
I'm probably the same height as her. Surprise, bitches. I'm really Angela Kang.
Angela Kang is a filthy mouth. She also quits a lot.
Well, she did say at one interview that she does curse.
Okay. She puts on a good face. She really does put on a good face. I wouldn't be able to tell, to be honest with you. And these fucking Squawking Dead people, we gotta put them down. We gotta like the dogs that they are. We can't have that going around with theories and being right about things, like Ezekiel being the ultimate sacrifice for the Commonwealth, and Father Gabriel being the villain. And anyways, yeah.
I just submitted that question to Talking Dead.
Wouldn't
that be awesome?
Which one?
The hand signals.
Oh, okay, cool.
Would that be great if they picked it?
Oh.
Wait, you submitted a question also?
Yeah.
What was your question?
I submitted one for Alana Masterson.
Oh.
That I loved watching Tara's leadership skills grow over the years, and what role does she think that Tara would be playing in rebuilding the communities if she hadn't been piked?
Oh, God. And, well, I mean, we're dealing a lot with people that we've lost, at least on Talking Dead, that what would they do now? And again, we have to bring it back to last episode where we thought, well, Ezekiel's getting that moment, and Gabriel's getting that moment from being... Well, Gabriel got spared from Beta's disembowelment, and Ezekiel being spared from the Pikes, and now this is the What If episode. The Walking Dead is a walking What If episode now. So will it course correct to the comics, or will it do something wildly different? I'm in a good spot.
I feel like they're going to do something wildly different because the comics are now over. They're going to find a way to throw curveballs at people.
But do you think they'll ultimately go back to the original narrative somehow in some way or resemble it?
With a twist, like how they're saying like Yumiko got Michonne's storyline, all that. In some aspects, yeah, they are sticking to it, but in some aspects, they're gonna throw everything.
So some things yes and some things no. Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want remember. All right, take the Pikes are a perfect example of this. When they were leading up to filming of the Pikes, people were going up to Kari and what's her face, Christian, saying, "Oh, yeah, I know, you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it." So what did they do? They said, "Fuck it," and look at all the people they killed instead.
Yeah, they were literally preparing. They were literally almost made it seem like, even though they said I can't say either way, but if I do go, which implies, oh, I'm going, bye.
Right.
I really respected them for that too. Oh, they really had us going too. Actors, go figure.
I'm still so mad. I'm still so mad.
Oh man.
Two of my favorites died that day.
Well,
where the fuck is Dog?
In Leah's room.
He told Dog run away.
With his fingers.
I don't believe that for a second.
Go get help.
And Dog yet again says, "Go fuck yourself. I'm Leah's dog." Probably.
We see him with we see Dog with Leah, and then we don't see him anymore.
First of all,
I think he's in Leah's room.
Leah's planning on murdering Carver for throwing Dog off the ledge. Okay, so there's one.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. I want to see
that too.
I want to see that.
Meanwhile, I'm like, yes, finally, somebody harms Dog. I'm like, finally, let's be real here.
Dave, get out. I know it's your podcast, but get the fuck out.
I mean,
we're both about to quit.
What if truly he gave a hand signal to Dog to go?
She said, I fucking quit. Oh, and it's an animated. Rachel's holding up, let me just for the audio listeners. First of all, you should know that every time, so Meg is quitting all the time, but Rachel finally has quit a lot of times today. And she wrote a sign that says, I fucking, and it's showing the drawing of I quit. I fucking
GIF.
quit. Yes.
I am so proud of you.
This is, is this,
I finally have a reason to quit.
Is Squawking Dead have like an underlying narrative where at some point Meg takes over? Like I die and then Meg takes over Squawking Dead?
Spoiler alert, Meg is actually Squawking Dead.
I mean, we
XOXO,
a
Gossip
Squawking
Girl.
Dead, technically. Oh, shit. I'm so dead.
That's right.
Are you going to throw me in a shack full of fire? Is that what's happening?
It's like Gossip Girl. It's Gossip
What
Girl.
if Daryl truly did give Dog a hand signal to go?
You are really laying on
I'm not
girl.
sure. I don't know.
Then, he quit. Timmy's fell in a well. Daryl's fell in a shed.
Oh, what if Dog takes over for Squawking Dead? Daryl told Dog to take over Squawking Dead.
while Daryl is still in the cell, he says to Leah, "Just give me dog and we'll go."
Yeah.
So he even thinks that Leah has dog somewhere.
Yeah. I have no doubt.
He thinks.
Right.
He thinks.
We
We don't know.
We don't know, but I'm very confident that dog is safe in Leah's quarters.
That
I
doesn't
will
make me
say
no
one
better.
thing, okay, and I see people if dog is even harmed, I will riot and all that stuff, and I'm like, that's when I want to throw things at everybody because I'm like, why do animals get a pass? Human beings do
Because
not.
they're innocent.
They're not innocent. They
innocent,
would
not
eat your
innocent,
face off
probably.
if you died. They would eat you.
Out of instinct.
Zoe would eat
Out of
your
instinct
face.
and not malice.
Yeah, well, that doesn't make me feel better.
But being innocent is about, the intent behind your actions.
Yeah, so what?
So
Are you
dogs
telling
are
me
no
this cute thing does not
it's a
get
double-edged.
pass?
It's a
Exactly.
double-edged sword, Like
She doesn't like you right now.
she is
gets a pass.
breakfast. That is what she is.
She's gonna bite your face
She's
off.
breakfast in the apocalypse. Zoe, can we call you Sausage Links? Sorry,
See, I think I
Well,
would
she's
be.
got a
it's so
belly,
cute
so-
for Sausage Links. I mean, seriously.
I think I'd be more likely to eat a person than a dog.
Yeah,
I can never get a dog.
you're not on my team.
Not a pet. Not a
Cheers,
pet.
baby. We
Not a pet
we don't-
dog.
we don't
anyway.
like
Oh,
Dave
Eliza
right
brought up.
Not a
Okay,
pet
so
dog.
this is a good dovetail into something Eliza brought up, which was people were very upset about Carol in the last episode. This is a good place to bring it up because putting down the horse for the sake of everybody who's starving to fucking death. And I'm like, and this is the same feeling I have about dog. I'm sorry, like if dog gets hurt, I will be sad. I will be sad, as one should be. But this whole dog dies and we riot thing. No offense, I'll be upset, but I won't be heartbroken. Like I'll be like, oh, something else besides a human died on The Walking Dead. Sounds fair. Sounds fair. It mostly goes the other way. Mostly it's humans that are dying. Occasionally several horses. Okay. But like horses seem to get a bad break, right? Like dogs, every now and again we eat a dog or two, right? Like Rick's people, like Eliza mentioned in her take, which happened to come after our episode, Rach. Oh, so and Jasmine saying, would you eat a dog if you were starving? And Meg says nope in the chat again.
Nope.
Well, I mean, we've lost Buttons, we lost Tabitha, we lost Shiva.
Tons of unnamed horses.
I cried when Shiva died. And Fear the Walking Dead is setting poor Rufus up to die
Because of the
running him
radioactive-
around in radiation. I think I could see Dog dying to save Daryl, doing something
I
like
can
that.
see that happening.
I thought he was going to get bit in the tunnel.
I want to add something though. When I say I wouldn't eat dogs, I guess specifically I mean
My pet.
pets.
Yeah, exactly.
A pet, not a wild dog. That's
Now I get that. That is hard. How can you imagine doing
But
that?
also, think about it. If you find a dog, if you have to eat it, how do you know that dog wasn't bitten and it's tainted?
Oh, we've
Well,
proven
you
that
check
doesn't
it for
matter.
bites first.
It doesn't matter. Wait,
That's true.
As a zombie
it
virus,
doesn't
you mean?
matter because
Yeah, I'm thinking back to with Terminus and the tainted
Well,
meat.
we've proven that doesn't matter. I mean, they've proven it, and also Ezekiel proved it with the tainted pigs. They feed him zombie flesh.
well,
I see animal.
Yeah.
I see animal, but I can't make it out because it's too small.
Oh,
on
that's
screen.
that's lunch. Leah's tattoo in Find Me, we get to see a little bit. We get to see a little bit on her dagger, I think, as well. And it's a saying, and I actually researched this for Find Me, but I never got to say it. Pope says, forged by fire, ordained by God. And it's welcome our brother. And it's like, fortitudo salutis, which is weird because the literal is salutis, but it's probably the same thing. Did you guys research that for at least Find Me or even now?
Strength and salvation.
oh yeah, the strength of salvation.
Right, the strength and salvation. Right, that's right. Which is the core of their being. Now, it's funny that we got this beforehand and everything like that. The exact quote is, "O Lord God, the strength of my salvation, you have protected my head in the day of war." Basically, what Pope's story is all about: the fire having jumped the church and burnt everything else and left them alive. And we are the chosen ones. Blah blah blah. Could that also mean something in relation to Daryl with Leah? Like that could have a different meaning. Like Daryl, you are my salvation, my strength and my salvation too, having a different meaning.
I think that's probably something to do with the group as they were when they were over fighting as soldiers.
The now Reapers, so yeah, I could see that. Yeah, their motto as
Kind of a platoon motto.
Like Semper Fi.
right. So when Pope was telling his story about the fall and how it was even worse than what we've even seen in Afghanistan, or wherever they were sent to as mercenaries. His story about the church and everything burning around them in the edge of town, that story was post-apocalypse. And so it could be that that's when they decide to get those tattoos or make those tattoos or have that saying, right? I'm just asking because what do you guys think? Is this something from before or something after? Because she does have that tattoo and Find Me.
Are you asking when she got it?
Yeah, or when that was their saying, or when the she got the tattoo.
I think it was probably before the apocalypse, because I just don't see people sitting still long enough for a tattoo post-apocalypse.
And then the thing that happened in the church just happened to solidify that saying. You're saying,
right?
Okay,
right.
No, I'm down with it. I just don't know. I'm just curious what you guys think.
Because I think that was probably like a platoon motto. They all got the same tattoo at some point. Because even Pope says it was at that point when they walked out of the church and we realized we were the chosen.
We know somebody is out there with a tattoo gun because Daryl has gotten some tattoos since the beginning of the show.
Well, no, there's ways to do it without a tattoo gun.
I know.
Think of
prison tattoo.
Rachel knows.
Educational for a moment.
No, you can do the pokes. Yeah. There's a lot. I've given myself some homemade tattoos.
Mistake or no? No, I'm just kidding. Well, one.
Always. They're always a mistake. Always.
Don't do it. Listen, Squawking Dead says don't give yourself a tattoo, even if you're an artist.
Don't do it. Don't do the stick poke. Don't do it.
No, I like Eliza, what you're saying is that it's something that they had before that they carried over, and that this story makes it even more like almost their own. What is that called? Like your own parable or your own, when you make your own story. Like that's part of the fabric of their story, their origin.
Yeah.
For themselves, their own gospel. Let's just say. So, beginning of the episode, when just before he spots Leah, or Leah spots him, whatever comes first, you do realize that he's looking into the distance at the radio tower that Negan mentions that they want to take him to. There's the side mission, right, for Georgie's place. They mention the radio tower, and just before Daryl turns around and sees Leah, he spots the radio tower, which makes it even more of a reason for him to lie about his whereabouts too. It's just not obvious at first. I don't know if you guys saw it on your laptop screens or phone screens sometimes. But yeah, it's just the little tidbit, like, where they might be, why he's lying so much to Leah.
I guess I don't remember the reference to the radio tower.
Oh, okay. So Maggie and Negan mention it in more than one occasion, in more than one episode. So Negan, you could take us to the radio tower? Yeah, I know what the radio tower is. This was in the last episode? No, it was the episode beforehand.
Wasn't say, was that part 2?
Yeah, Asher on part 2.
Like after they come up the stairs?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
all right, now I remember it, yeah.
And then Daryl spots the radio tower, turns around and sees Leah.
So do you think maybe Leah was also on her way to the radio tower when she came across Daryl?
Could be.
And how did she know about it?
I think she saw Daryl. I think she was in the woods.
You mean Cole?
And I think she recognized Daryl. And I think she was trying to track him the whole time.
Yeah. I am wondering though, like it does go, like I can't stop thinking about like what benefit this long con about Frost, being a double agent, how that works, how it doesn't work, the Judas thing, is Elijah dead? It's making me crazy, to be honest with you. I gotta ask, why do you think Daryl guts up?
Extra protection. That was the only thing I could think.
Because he doesn't have
dog.
And he needs. Yes. He doesn't have any people.
Yep.
Is that why? Is that okay? That's interesting.
That's how I took it.
I didn't really think too hard about it. I just took it as I'm alone and I should take extra precautions.
Lisa, you feel the same way, or?
Yeah, because he had thrown his crossbow. So all he had was his knife. He had thrown his crossbow at that Reaper when he threw dog, and so I think he just did it for extra protection because all he had was his knife.
Because all he would be able to do is get close.
He didn't have anything.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. All right. I'll take that. It was a tough one for me because I was like thinking, usually you would only do that in situations where you're among a herd or whatever, because I didn't see that. I didn't see a walker anywhere. My meager thought was that he was gutsing up so that dog could smell him better. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought, hey, dog likes to run towards the wall. I don't know, man. Guys, I don't know.
I think Dave needs to quit.
I need to quit. I'm sorry. I need to eat something.
Same.
Okay. I don't want to ask about that. I was going to ask about why hanging people upside down and bring up the Japanese bayonets in World War.
I was going to say that's their calling card.
But, like, why? What is that? What is that about?
I don't know. Why do people get tattoos?
It could be, like, a perverse representation of the crucifixion.
Oh, hanging people upside down. See, you would know that. immediately. You know, okay, let's do some things. Let's do some talking here because I want to talk about this because you had, and I meant to bring this up because I didn't know when we would do it, but you had such a really touching reaction about Father Gabriel. It really, really hit me. And I felt like, I'm like, oh, we're getting somewhere with Rachel. Like, and I want to bring this up again now. Like, but did you have like a religious upbringing or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I was raised in the church.
Okay. Oh, see, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
It's interesting that it's because there was two things that happened. Your reaction to Father Gabriel sort of losing his faith. That was cool to see within you. But then I was like, when you had this thing about religion, and I was actually really intrigued. Like when you said, I'm afraid of them bringing this religious component in because of possible fuckery in the fandom and stuff like that. And you felt really sad about that because of, I doubt you're the same religiosity as you were once, but you still see.
Oh, no, I'm still Presbyterian.
Okay. So you have that sort of reverence to religion. So I thought it was cool that we can bring that up and talk about that a little bit.
Religion is a very big part of my life, but I don't put it out there. I don't talk about it all the time because that's not what it's about.
You're supposed to show it, not speak it.
Thank you, Eliza. Perfectly said.
It goes right back into
Perfectly said.
actions
Like
speak louder than
politicians.
words.
Yep. Let's bring it back to Pope and politicians.
Yep.
Oh no.
Be about it. Don't talk about it.
Dovetail. Right, exactly.
Yep.
Exemplify it like Pope is, right? Gross. And maybe this is the yin yang thing all over again, right? Like I'm of you but not you. Like the politicians would say it but not do it, and Pope would say it. This Pope would do it and not, but do it a little too much.
He would do it and not need to
just go overboard.
To me, Father Gabriel is more true the definition of a man of faith when he questions his own faith.
Oh.
Because I think even I, as a Christian raised in a church, there's times and this is strictly in my own opinion, I believe in the tribulation, I believe in the rapture. If I question my own worthiness and say, am I going to get left? Does God hear my prayers? How strong of a faith have I? How do I show it every day? That shows him to be more of a man of God than Pope, because he questions himself and he questions God. If you go back to the Old Testament in the book of Malachi, it says God was silent for 400 years.
This brings back what you said about Elijah too, like how mad God was at Elijah, even though he didn't necessarily, he exiled him a little while into the woods. But like the idea that, God, in this same thing with Phineas, or AKA Pinchas in the Old Testament, Pinchas was determined to rout out the people who were unworthy of God's love because they did public fornication. Okay, this is Old Testament. Okay, so be prepared. It's very Walking Dead-ish. He spears them both as they're performing this public act with the same spear. It like basically skewers them.
I saw that in the Friday the 13th movie.
Well, now you know where it's from. It's from the Old Testament. Gross.
That's my franchise.
I'll get to Jasmine's
right
comment in a second, but like the idea that God isn't very happy when people do this in the Bible. He will not punish them per se, but he'll make a strongly worded and noteworthy. He'll exile Elijah. I forgot what he did with Phineas, but more to the point, the idea of taking the law into your own hands. Saying that you represent God when God didn't really tell you to do anything. The two clear examples are Elijah. God was even saying to Elijah, "Please don't do this. Please, I don't need you to do this. Please don't do it." And Pinchas, Phineas, he specifically went out of his way to do this in the name of God, but God never gave him permission.
Well, and that's Pope and Gabriel. When Gabriel kills that guy, he's like, God's not here. I'm doing this as Gabriel. When Pope throws Bossi in the fire, he says, I'm doing this because this is God.
Right. Yeah.
So there's truly that dichotomy.
Yeah, or you're not worthy. You're not one of the chosen ones. You got injured you're not worthy of God's love because you got injured on the job. You didn't do everything to protect your brother. And again, I see this as somebody reacting in emotion in the name of God, right? So I love this. Eliza puts Gabriel strictly in the middle of that yin-yang rather than on some sort of extreme. Same as what we said with Daryl when it comes to the Commonwealth, from his perspective, looking at the Commonwealth and looking at the Reapers and probably going, I don't know what the fuck is going on, right? And Gabriel may be in the same position, and maybe I shouldn't count him out just yet, like Rachel doesn't either. Jasmine says, when sentenced to death, Peter requested, St. Peter, etc., requested that his cross be upside down as he felt unworthy of being crucified in the same manner as Jesus, St. Peter. Right, exactly. If anybody has any extra on that, I'm not really versed on Peter because I didn't grow up that way.
I'm not either, but that's interesting that they pose their victims in this way,
Unworthy.
basically saying they're unworthy.
You know,
Well, and Peter felt, I mean, Peter was the one who denied Christ 3 times. And so even after his forgiveness, you should say, or his don't worry about it kind of thing moment with Jesus after the resurrection, he still felt that unworthiness of
he did it to himself.
being killed in the same position as that Christ was crucified. So, turn mine upside down.
And there have been stories about our Jewish sages being crucified upside down, and not only that, but being flayed and stuff like that. Some of our biggest sages were done that way. And I bring this up only to mention the Reaper's victims and the with Maggie, right? But I know I'm bringing it up twice, illegal. I know. But we have to keep going back to that moment where that guy said, but to Maggie, Pope marked you. What do you think that means, and why?
Wait, was that the guy with the grenade?
Yeah, the guy with the grenade in the bonus episodes of the first episode, the 10-17 of the bonus episodes.
Yeah,
he says
who was wearing very traditional camo gear, and now we see the Reapers wearing mostly black.
Right.
And pay attention to the way Pope, kind of going off of what Jazzy said, Pope's victims are hung upside down. I still think Pope marked Maggie because I think she took some of the Reapers.
Like Elijah, at least, if not
With
more.
her.
Again, we have to keep noting Pope marked you. Why? What for? Took one of the Reapers, maybe. Then we go back to Elijah, his sister, and God, I hope Elijah is alive, because that whole sister narrative kind of goes away. It's just used as a prop for Connie and Kelly, rather than a thing that stays with the character for some reason. So I don't know.
I think maybe Maggie might divulge that to Negan.
What happened with Elijah and all that?
Well, no, why she is marked by Pope and why the Reapers are after her.
I hope so. It feels like they can't go home anytime soon because of what's going on too. I don't know. Well, they are moving on to the radio tower apparently. Did you not notice that it feels like, and I'm not sure if this was confirmed or not, that the place where they filmed was where Terminus was filmed with the smokestack and everything?
It felt
I
very
thought it looked
familiar.
familiar.
It felt really familiar.
Now, do you think that might have been in some way intentional, to get you that feeling of terror, or for this cannibal group? But still,
I'm not sure.
And the train tracks were still there. The train tracks that led in to their place.
Could have just been cost effective for shooting.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I wonder, because they have to know that the people who have hung around this long would spot this immediately.
Well, it's just like in season 10, in 10-16, when they used the hospitals, the same hospital that Daryl carried Beth out
Good point. Okay.
I didn't notice anything specifically that I could say, oh, I saw this at Terminus, but it just had a very familiar feel. That's really all.
I'm glad. I'm glad that you didn't. I'm glad, because then it wasn't on the nose, and it wasn't really for me either. It's definitely the place, and they're definitely filming at angles that you wouldn't detect that it was the place. But I just find it kind of interesting that this is where we're going. Like, it's supposed to be a good place, but then it turns out to be a bad place. But maybe this is a bad place that turns out to be a good place. I don't know.
Bossy and Turner are just coming back, and Carver says to Leah, oh, Bossy's back with Turner, whatever. And then they're walking to the room that they're in. That whole sequence felt really familiar too, like this. I don't want to say office, but like with the vertical blinds, or not the horizontal blind, like with the blinds over the windows and stuff. I don't know, something just felt very familiar. And then they walked into the big open room, and they had sheets hanging up, sort of separating areas of the bigger room.
Infirmary type.
Yeah, something about that felt really familiar too. Maybe it was Alpha's flashback when we see where they are before everything. It kind of felt like that.
Interesting.
Like when Alpha met Beta?
Or the mental hospital.
No, before that. Even before that.
This is in season 9 when you get the Alpha flashback.
When Lydia was
That's
still
kind of
a little
one,
girl.
Yeah.
And
that one,
and
I get those two confused.
And they have sort of like sheets and tarps and stuff sort of up separating different
like
areas
almost medical
of this
tarps.
Larger room. Yeah. So it kind of felt like that to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the same place, but it just gave me the same feeling.
I hadn't thought of it. Yeah, it's perfect.
We could talk about the title of the episode for just a second.
I was going to say, thank you for bringing it back, because I was going to say that too. Okay.
Well, I didn't really do a whole lot of research. I literally just looked up the definition.
Okay.
I just wanted to know the definition of this word. So it's a performance. A rendition is a performance. It's also the practice of sending a foreign criminal terrorist suspect covertly to be interrogated in a country with less rigorous regulations for the humane treatment of prisoners.
What better country?
Literally, yeah. So literally sending in a spy to be interrogated. Is that a is that a reference to Daryl? Is it a reference to Frost? Thank you.
Exactly.
We'll find out next week on
Yeah,
Squawking
that's right.
Dead.
That's right.
Stay tuned.
I actually have to get going in 5 minutes, somewhat or something. I have to go. Can you imagine? That's weird.
Wow.
What a weird thing. I'm usually like,
It's a weird feeling.
I'm gonna be right here when you come back, guys. I'm gonna be in the same spot next week.
So it's funny that you keep calling Frost Cole,
Yeah.
Dave, because I just realized I wrote Cole in my notes when I met Frost.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
What are the odds?
Wow.
Why do we keep doing that?
Okay.
Mostly
I
it's
don't know.
me.
I have no idea. But now, apparently now I'm doing it. Okay, so really quick. I don't even know if it's worth talking about. Just a really cool camera shot was when Leah looks over at dead Turner basically, and the camera all of a sudden starts shooting from her point of view, and it zooms in on Turner and then kind of goes around to the side and then lands on where Leah is. I just thought that was a really cool camera shot. How it sweeps through and we're seeing it from Leah's point of view.
Where was this exactly? Take me back. Or when was this?
Well, this was
Sorry.
Leah and Carver enter the room where Bossy is telling Pope what happened to Turner, and he's sobbing, saying, "I tried to save him." Leah's kind of catching up and realizing what's going on. She looks over and sees Mencia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The priest who's praying over Turner.
Yeah, that whole thing. Yep.
Yeah. And then it goes into this shot of Leah's point of view, sort of walking up to Turner and looking and sort of spinning around the corpse and landing on where she is kneeling next to him. I just thought it was really cool.
Right.
Really cool
It was
shot.
a good singular use shot, no edit kind of thing. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. It's good that you noticed it and I didn't. I'm the one usually noticing these things. No, that's really cool.
Well, when they jump out at me like that, it's worth writing down.
No, it's definitely worth writing down. And which should tell the audience a little bit that like Leah is important. Usually when you're following that point of view, Leah is important. There's a weight to her presence. Don't discount her.
There's a weight to this choice.
We're not going to throw her away anytime soon. Sorry, Rachel. My bad. Sorry, break the news to you.
Hey, I'm excited to see what is going on with Leah because I have no idea.
Right.
I have no idea. And I love...
Isn't that refreshing?
To pull the thread, yeah.
I love not knowing. I love not knowing.
That's why I don't read the comments.
And it's also like pulling that tension, like, right?
She's not even in
Right,
them.
yeah. And Daryl isn't either.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
And
be
yet
fair.
he'll be the last one standing, won't he?
Most
Because
likely.
Carol will be...
No, stop it. I don't want her to quit 3 times today. Jeez Louise.
Don't make me quit again. Don't make me quit again.
Now, this is for Rachel, okay? How did you feel when you got to see Bossy crack and sizzle in the fire? Like, getting...
Oh, I loved it. Oh, I loved it so much. And they zoomed right in on his bubbling face. And I'm like, yes, stay right there. Right there. Oh, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Now, is that very Christian of you? No, okay, sorry.
Okay. Do I
Jasmine
need
is
to
like,
clarify
dot,
why
dot, dot.
I think this is awesome? Maybe I do need to clarify why I think this is awesome. Okay.
You do.
Okay. It wasn't awesome watching Bossy die.
Right.
It was awesome watching the effects department on this
Right.
show have
Yes.
so much fucking fun. That is why I'm excited.
That we get to see
Yes.
something really new and
100%.
cool and different, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I get excited
It's been
when
a
they
while
show
since we've
these
seen something like that.
Yes, these gruesome and I think to myself, wow, they are having fun. They are having so much fucking fun with this, and that's why I get excited.
Oh my god, we never finished
They are
Sharon D's
pulling
take.
out
She's
all
been
the
on the show
stops.
the whole time.
Been here.
No, but the only thing I wanted to say in relation to like, oh, what if we got to see Dr. Carson in the fire? That's what we would have seen, basically, essentially, more or lessly.
I'm glad we
Yeah,
didn't see
I
it
mean-
then. This was so much
And
better.
it's funny because like you kind of have to ease the audience into something like this, right? After 11 years, like I mean, it's one thing to kind of see Carson being thrown in the fire and all that, but it's another to see him in the fire.
They didn't ease us into it. They just went full on because it was all calm. You knew the tension was slowly
No,
building.
but you didn't
and
get to see Carson
Going for the shock
burn.
factor.
You know, like
We do see.
No, but I'm saying they didn't really ease us into
No.
this.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
but this
no.
is 11
we
years-
do get to see a
12 years
close up
later.
of Dwight's face in the grilled cheese.
yeah, that was cool. The
Grilled
yeah,
cheese.
that's
That
right.
was
You should grilled cheese with an iron, sure. All right, let's play the rest of Sharon D's take finally.
which is where Leah was living when Daryl found her. So she is the weary one living by a copse or a thicket, and that is exactly what she was when Daryl found her. I don't know if they meant to do that, but I just thought that was an interesting little thing. So maybe next week will be better. But anyway, love you.
She says this because she wasn't really into this episode. She said this in the beginning, and I kind of want to bring that back again. She just wasn't into it.
That's okay.
Honestly, the first half of the episode, I found it to be pretty boring. It wasn't until, I forget what part. I think it was when the fire broke out.
So
with
near the
Leah
end?
and Daryl. That's when. No, I remember it was something happened specifically halfway through the episode, and that's what got me back into like being interested in this episode. I don't remember what it was, but first half I'm like,
It was kind of like this 2/3 of the way through is when this fire thing happens, right?
All right, then it was two-thirds of the episode. Where
2/3 of the episode was
I'm more
boring,
action.
I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm more into like action, and I know they can't always be action, but when it's something like this, I feel like they needed to throw something more into it, but they made up for it in that last.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree like about as being boring, but I get it though. I get it totally. I mean, you're not the first person to say that. Obviously, like Charity says,
the writing was great, the production value, the shots, it was all great, but for me, it just didn't hold my interest until.
Eliza, Frost is a double agent or not?
Yes.
Okay, Meg.
Woo! Ask me last.
Rachel thinks he's it, so you are last.
Well,
okay,
I
I'll
posed
go
it.
with myself. Okay, I'm not 100% convinced. Still, not yet.
Do you think it's
Oh,
possible,
I think it's
though?
definitely possible. And
Okay,
what the
all right.
I'm thinking like what the implications are. Jasmine says I'm on the fence also. Okay.
Okay, but I like that I'm making you think about
Oh.
it. I don't have to. I don't necessarily need to convince you, but the fact that you're thinking about it, I've succeeded.
100%. Yeah. I like that Elijah goes one way, like assuming that Elijah is of the Reapers before, and then Maggie took him in. I like how Elijah is what Frost is on the other side, the yin and the yang of who you represent. Okay, Meg.
Yeah. So what say you, Meg?
So there's definitely possibilities, but I feel like they're gonna do a thing where they're making us think all this, like the red herring, that they're making us
okay.
think it's gonna
I
be
can value
this,
that.
and then something's gonna be totally different.
Which is what I almost thought,
see-
watching Frost get thrown in and get beat up and everything like that.
Yeah.
Like that, it is a red herring. He really is in trouble.
They've done this before on all
Yeah,
shows.
it's true. It makes you think one thing, and it's like, oh no, really, Frost is in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's a good thing you're bringing this up, because I had thought that when you brought that up, Rachel, I didn't get a chance to bring it up because I didn't really could articulate. But this is what we thought about Sadiq being the spy and for the Whisperers, and feeling. I felt really awful about it, but like, obviously I have to indulge it, and even though I was like, no, but we have to talk about it because people are talking about it
Maybe it was Agatha
all along.
all along, but she's no more.
Yeah, I know.
Watch
Right.
Meg.
WandaVision, right? WandaVision reference. And with that, everybody, it was Dave all along. I am the philosopher asshole. If you like what you heard, head over to ratethispodcast.com/squawkingdead and just give us 5 stars and eggplant. We'll know exactly what you mean. But if you want to, you can comment on how much you love us, how much you don't love us, what the hell we were thinking to begin with by having a podcast and talking about this stuff. Here's 5 poop emojis. Go fuck yourself. Either way, tell us and tell the world how awful we are. Yes, please. And if you really, really love us, why don't you head over to ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com, set up an account, and just follow us at ko-fi.com/squawkingdead. Just follow us. We don't care if you support us. But if you do, you can always tip us and get 30 days of supporter back content, for free. Get to see the unedited episode recordings like Jasmine just did today. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, you're a tremendous addition. We learned so much about you today.
I love what Jasmine has to
Yes,
say.
exactly.
Yes,
And
I
or
love
you
it.
can join one of our membership tiers for a certain amount a month. You can get different kinds of perks. Obviously, there's a Walkers tier, which is what you get when you tip us. There's the Whisperers tier, which gives you your name in the credits, as well as 50% off the merch store, as well as the ability to sometimes give us your take. Why didn't you give us your take, Jasmine? Oh, because you were in the episode. Okay, you attended the episode. Okay, that's fine. It's fine. We think, and the Whisperers also get access to our Discord, although not all access, full access. That's meant for the Survivors tier, aka what Eliza belongs to. The ability to host the show with us, to be there, to be a part of the show and part of the family. You don't have to do any of that. Just follow us, and because we want you to be in the know of when we do a cool thing that you may or may not want to join in on. You can tip us and get that 30 days. You can be a part of the membership tiers. We don't want to push you into anything. We just want you to be behind the scenes knowing exactly what's up. The soft sell, you know what I'm saying? If you like it, then you can join it. And if you don't, you could just, at least you get the notifications, you know when we're doing something. In any case, I've been your host, David Cameo, Cosmo09, Meg the Geek, Elisa J, Jasmine in the chat. What more do you need? Well, Charity, throughout this episode, apparently, from being in the chat in the beginning of the episode, attending Shang-Chi in theaters, in a theater near you. It's not an advertisement. And from being in this episode the entire time, even though we paused her for the majority of it. So she's going to be upset that one face was froze up on the whole time.
Oh, she is going to be mad.
Oh,
You better cut that out.
Says you. Take care. Have a great night. Enjoy the credits that are rolling on the screen right now. And take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.